Hello, 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 and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Jameelah, and I am a master manifestor, and I'm sure you are too because you're watching content like this. The name of this channel is Holistic Manifesting. I believe in a whole body, whole mind, and whole being experience when it comes to manifesting these amazing lives that we're choosing, right? What I'm discussing today is your job is not your identity. It is not the totality of who you are, right? And if I can urge further on, I would tell you when you meet people and network and go in different environments, lead with your vision, not with your occupation. That's going to get you much further into the places of where you're trying to go rather than where you are right now, right? I've seen this so much, and I just have a little bit of a backstory on it. I've never been a person that kind of just worked a specific job and had a career that was just like, I'm a this and this is what I do. I think the longest thing that I've ever done in my life is be a professor, which is something that I truly enjoy and I plan to do more of, right? But at the same time, I've never been a person who can walk into a room and people say, well, what do you do? What do you do for a living? I'm always like, well, kind of like, and I'm always like searching, right? For a while, I would only say author. For a while, I would only say professor. For a while, I would only say educational technologies and stuff. But none of it kind of just sits in with me just to say, I am this occupation, right? Because that's a lot of what people do when you go out into the world. They ask you what you do, and they kind of sum you up to the totality of who you are through what type of job you have. If you say, okay, yeah, I work at Popeyes, then they're going to put you in a certain kind of category because that's what people do. They don't care what you're working on, who you are, what you're creating in this world. If you say your job is this or that or whatever, that's what they're going to line you up with, and they're going to try to put you on a hierarchy based on that, right? Now, my approach would be, don't be bothered with people that do that, right? But we live in a world where people have all types of, they're at all levels of expansion. So you don't want to go just canceling people out all the time just because they make some snap judgment that you don't like, right? But I feel like I have to say this because so many times, like in this work world and these environments, these entities try to test like our value because they have a paycheck to hand over to you or something like that, right? And I've been learning more and more recently that money in your finances can come from so many areas besides that 9-to-5 job that a lot of people go and sit at. And I don't think anything is wrong with it. Whenever I need to do something really specific in life, I will sit at that 9-to-5 for a second, right? But I never sit there and let them make me feel like if you don't make it here, then you're just going to be a loser. If we don't, if you don't get this project right, then your career's going down there. It's just like, dude, you know how many jobs there are in this city? There's like tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of different types of jobs, right? And you don't have to always have experience to go try something new and go do something new or to put your name in the hat. You throw your name in the running and see what they say, right? You don't always have to have some big background in a certain area to do a job. Most things that are being offered in this world require critical thinking. They require being reliable and dependable. They also require possibly some basic reading and arithmetic skills. But when you go into these places, they try to act like what they're doing is so high level and you have to be like this and like that in order to get it done. And believe me, I've had those jobs, right? And funny enough, I made this today because I was just offered one of those things, right? And they couldn't meet a standard that I have in one area. And I'm like, I'm non-negotiable. I'm not about to sit in anybody's cubicle. Either you let me do this anywhere I want to be, or I'm just not going to do it at all. And eventually the answer came down to no. And it feels so powerful and empowering to walk away from stuff like that because there was a version of me that used to think, well, this is what's available now. But I told my daughter that I was just like, we shouldn't have to audition for so many things in life. And they wanted me to come and like do a project in front of them for like an interview part. And I'm like, I don't do that. I've worked for very high level firms and nobody's asked me to come in there and sit there and do this work in front of them. Either you look at my portfolio and you like it or not, or you don't, right? And I just is like, I'm not about to sit there and let people judge me while I sit there and do the work in front of them. I'm like, that's rude. I'm just not doing it. And my daughter was like, well, and she was trying to understand it. I was like, you have to be the same way 360. everywhere in your life. I said, imagine you being on a date and some guys like audition for me, right? Now we all know there's a certain amount of presentation. There's a certain amount of, showing up as your best version of yourself that you do, which I don't fully agree with either. I say show up just as you are. As you are should be a good version no matter what anyway. You shouldn't have to pull out this fake version, which we've run into a lot out there, to go sit down and have dinner with somebody. The whole you should be good enough all the time. That's where you should be if you're looking for somebody to bring into your life, right? But I'm like, imagine you out there and a guy was like, audition for me and let me see if you're valuable. And she's like, no way, not gonna do that. And I'm like, you see how that sounds different? You see the difference there? And I was like, I've been at this stuff for 20 years or so. I'm not about to sit there and prove to somebody I know how to do something that I clearly been doing for a very long time, right? And it just makes me remember all the time that you are not the totality of a job. You're not the totality of an occupation, right? At any given time in this lifetime, you can go do something else. You can go try something else, right? You can go build up a skill set and go take on a new challenge any given time. Sometimes I think we get so locked into this concept of capitalism and like, we have to have this type of retirement. We have to have this type of lifestyle. We have to do it like this, that, and that. And then we start to do this and we realize it's corporate rot, right? You'll sit at these desks and you'll do this work and stuff and everybody's just rotting. They're just rotting, waiting for retirement and like doing things like funny hat day, funny sock day, And I'm not crashing on anybody who's doing this, but what I'm saying is that can't be your life fully. Like there's more happening in this life that we should be latching on to rather than doing these things. That's why most of the time, the only time you can get me into a corporate environment is when I'm doing something creative. I mean, other than that, I'm not going to be sitting there, the meeting about the meeting, about the meeting, about the meeting. That's just not going to be something I'm going to do. And to be honest with you, with this most recent thing that I was being offered, I couldn't get excited about it. I couldn't feel good about it, right? And someone would laugh because this is literally like the third thing that I've turned down in the past couple of months. Because I'm no longer doing anything that doesn't excite me or make me feel good. I've gotten into a place in my life where I'm able to say, nope. But what I'm realizing now is that I could have done that at any time. If we're not bogged down by scarcity mindset, if we're not bogged down by thinking that it's the end of the world, if we lose this, lose that, lose this, lose that, then we can really create a whole lot more in our lives. We can really put ourselves in a position to where we experience that peace and that freedom and that joy that we want to have access to on a daily basis. We don't want to be waiting for the weekend to have this stuff. We don't want to be waiting for our commute home. Ooh, that's my me time, that 1 hour in the car where I'm listening to a book. Whatever. And then these people make you think that it's the end of the world if you're 5 minutes late to something that you've been doing for 10 years for them. And nobody even cares, right? Just recently, I was involved in an environment where they were laying people off. This has been more than once. I've been around places, right? And they were laying people off. And one of the person got a package to leave, a severance package. And they've been at this place for like a couple of years. And it was just like, they'll pay you for 6 more months after you leave. And I was like, ooh, that sounds like a lot of good time. I'm going to write a book. I'm going to do, because if you give me that kind of time and you're going to pay me, I'm going to find all kinds of creative things to do. I'm not going to sit there and wallow in some job that already passed and then every day working on my resume trying to get something else. Like, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to live the abundance and freedom that the universe has provided in that moment in time and space. We got our whole lives to work like maniacs if we want to, right? And then the other person had been there for like 15 some odd over years. Do you know that the only difference between that person's severance package and the other person was like 5 months? One person that had been there a couple of years had gotten a 6-month severance package, and the person that had been there for like 15, 16 years had got 10 months. That lets you know that these places don't care nothing about nobody. And I'm like, how can that be all you get for giving up 16 years of your life to this company and making it your everything? Because don't get it twisted. You have to make it your everything. You have to travel when they say travel. You have to be on those Zoom calls when they say be on those Zoom calls. And if they say come back into work into the office, you got to be there. Either you're not working there, right? So we just have to keep in mind that these environments do not love us the way that we should be loving ourselves, right? Your occupation is not the totality of who you are. When you meet people, you should be leading with your vision. You should be leading with where you're trying to take your life to, right? If I'm meeting people today, I'm like, you know what, I'm really trying to get this next book going. I've been working on it. I'm like one chapter in. I'm getting my mind wrapped around doing my 500 words a day, right? I'm looking to do more international travel so I can learn more about the environments. I don't want to go for 4 or 5 days. I want to go to places for a month at a time so I can get to know the people in the environment, get to know the history of the environment, get a deeper connection with these environments, right? Another place is being able to, I'm in the process of launching my daughters into their lives, creating for them some things that would have been useful for me when I was growing up and stuff too, helping them purchase properties, helping them get to the place where they can be in a comfortable space in life. That's what I'm leading with when I'm having conversations with people, right? I'm building this YouTube channel because I really like doing videos and teaching and sharing with people, right? I'm working on professorships because I really love talking about sociology. I really love helping students and just people in general open their minds and think deeper into why they do what they do and why they're surrounded by what they're surrounded by and why the world works the way that it does, right? And to see everything from a bird's eye view rather than being caught up in the minutia of it. So that's the conversations that I'm having when I'm meeting people. I'm not about to tell people, oh, I do, educational technology work. I create, design. I design e-learnings. I design graphics. I design, so what? So what? Those are just things I do for a job, a means to an end. There's nothing wrong with that, but we have to get to a place where we start allowing our vision to lead us as opposed to the occupation that we have. If it doesn't get you excited, it's probably not something that you should be doing for the long term, right? Anyway, I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful day. And just remember, lead with your vision. Stop running around worrying about an occupation or a job, and don't let these places run you ragged thinking that there's not another one coming in 5 minutes. Just like the city buses. You miss one in 15 minutes, there'll be another one. It's just that we can't see into the future, so we're always wondering like, will it be? Will it be? I promise you, I've just experienced this. There'll be another one and another one and another one. And don't be afraid to go out there and do something new. You have your whole entire life. Don't waste it on, I have to prepare for death, because so many people are doing that. And there's nothing wrong with preparing for retirement and making sure you're set in that way, but don't make it the totality of your whole entire personality, because then you're always waiting to live, and you don't want to wait to live, right? Anyway, have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful day.